my son. We do not fight because the world makes us fight. We fight for a greater purpose.
Estamos con Cory Barlog, la figura, la estrella, el director de God of War, el creador, la mente detrás de uno de los juegos más importantes quizás de los últimos 10 años. Cory, thanks for having us here.
Thank you, the pleasure's all mine. Thank you for having me.
We've been with you when we were just a few days to release the God of War. We played it and we loved it. Now, the after game, what can you tell us about what we talked about, what we see God of War people, the fans all around the world? What did you get when they gave you like 10 points reviews?
Oh, it's been overwhelming. It's been humbling. It's been incredible. It's been a ride for everybody on the team because it's 5 years of our lives that we pushed really hard into some pretty darkness, you know. I think a lot of us were filled with doubt throughout the duration of this process. So not only to release and have people like it, but to have people respond the way that they've been responding is unbelievable.
You're telling me about the doubts. Which doubts? The game was flawless.
Yeah, well, when you're so close to something, we don't really see that. Like, we see the flaws. I think what we see is what we couldn't get to, what we couldn't do. There's still a lot of fear, I think, before we released of, you know, do people really want this? Is it too much of a change? You know, and even though people were filled with doubt on the team, they still persevered, pushed forward, and, you know, made an amazing game. Just so impressed.
The thing about God of War is that our old school gamers like me will like the single player game, nothing else, that's it, just a single player game. But maybe in these days, you got like, I don't know, pressure to make the game like with a lot of DLCs, with multiplayer gaming. Why and how did you manage to get just a single player as we played it in the first time?
You know, I had a pretty incredible support from Sony, even from the beginning. They never really pushed any edicts of saying you got to make it multiplayer. They were pretty cool the whole way. Even DLC, I started writing a couple of DLC things, or like in the about 2 years before we were done, just saying like, all right, I should prepare just in case somebody asks that we should do DLC, because what I didn't want to do was take a chunk of the game and make that DLC. Like, I was going to do something extra, and they had kind of said like, no, let's just focus on finishing the game, that's the best part about working with Sony, is that they get it. Like, what's on that disc is the important thing. What they're going to have everybody play, what they take home, what they start up, and then what they finish should be the whole experience, right? So they were like, don't worry about any of those things. Finish the game. Make it great, right? It's amazing.
Yeah, it's not common also, because we're seeing a lot of games today that we play the game, and one day after we finish the game, there's like free DLC to play. And it's maybe, we feel like that's not okay.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's tough, the release schedules that they have for different DLCs. I know that any DLCs you end up doing, you have to start on those like 6 months or 8 months or even 12 months before you're done with the game, which is very hard. It's hard on teams, I think, to figure out how to finish the game and then do the DLC. So, yeah, it's interesting because in gaming, you only get a small window after release to really kind of get sales, right? And then that's really it. Like, you know, the movies, you kind of have several sort of beats that you can get, but for us, it's really once the release, and then nowadays, there's so many big games every other week that, you know, you get the sort of big game spotlight for about a week, and then a new big game is coming out, right? So it's a little overwhelming, I think, for any game maker to be releasing games right now.
What can you tell me about the after game? Because the release was amazing. Everybody all around the world was talking about the God of War, and you worked 5 years making this game. Are you depressed right now?
I wouldn't really say depressed as much as there is a weird come down, right? Of that sense of when I'm working on it, especially in the last year and a half, there's a lot of pressure and there's a lot to do. So I'm used to constantly being scheduled and come at by so many different people that immediately when it's done, you don't have everybody coming at you and asking for things, and you don't have to make a bunch of decisions. So it's a little bit of, what do I do now, right? You're sort of like, what do I do with myself? And I took 3 months off after the game, and really it took almost 2 months to just feel like I could relax, right? So I had only a little bit of a real relaxing break, but now I'm back at work ready to kind of figure out what are we going to do next, right? Like, what is the future of the studio? We don't know. Like, we're having great discussions with Sony, having discussions with our team, and just trying to figure out what do we want to do.
So you're not going to tell me what you're going to do?
Oh, no.
No matter the darkness, nothing will stand in our way. Again.